Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our third and final community meeting for our Parks and Recreation Master Plan with the City of Fremont. We are so pleased that you are with us today, and we are so looking forward to this meeting with you, and I want you to know that we are excited about the input that you'll provide us today as well. So with that, we'll get started. Again, I'm Suzanne Wolf, Director of Community Services in the City of Fremont, and we have four divisions in our department. We have environmental services, parks, maintenance, recreation, and our parks planning and design team that does all of our landscape and architecture here in the city of Fremont. So today is our last community meeting, but it doesn't mean that there isn't lots of opportunity for you to provide input throughout the next months and as we go into the next stage of this process. There's two ways to do it. One is to join us and ask questions on www.inventfremont.parks.com or visit our app at Happy Feet, that's HAPPI Feet, and look for Fremont Parks under Happy Feet, the Happy Feet app. And again, you can provide specific site comments as well as broader comments around our planning and programming that you think are important for us in the city of Fremont. With that, we're going to talk a little bit about what a master plan is and how we're looking forward to this process. It's been 25 years since we've had a comprehensive master plan. And, at that time, Elon Musk was in middle school. So we know it was a long time ago when we were discussing what to do and where our vision was for our parks and recreation services here in Fremont. And we want to know how we want to meet the demands for our future recreational programming, how we want to maintain our sites, how we want to think about the environmental overlays, as well as establish our priorities for facility improvements, for future park development, and our land acquisitions for the next 15 to 20 years. So we are so proud of the inclusivity that we have in this process and really looking at how we're going to maximize the engagement of the community. Again, this is our third community meeting, and we've had several hundred in each of our community meetings so far with our Zoom technology. And we, again, appreciate that we are trying to bring everybody in during COVID-19 and how we want to effectively bring different people together and figure out a way that we can be the most inclusive possible. We want to also integrate the learnings for our National Commission for Accreditation of Parks and Recreation Agencies, known as CAPRA. That provides us the quality assurance and quality improvements of our accredited park recreation system throughout the United States. And it allows us to really think about what are the best practices of managing our parks and recreation system. And so with that, we really want to seek that approval of CAPRA in order to show that Fremont is one of the best in the nation. We're also looking at how we ensure our diverse offerings, and thinking about equity of access is so important as we look at our practices for the next 20 years. We want to make sure that we have a world that we live in that has safe access to quality parks and green spaces that are environmentally friendly within a 10-minute walk of our home by 2050. Mayor May is one of our leading mayors to sign on to this vision of equity and safe access for all in our community. So how will we do that? How will we look at this overall process? One of the layers we have to really think about in our next steps and our next practices for the next 20 years is to think about how we will have a financial plan that will help implement the goals that we've identified in this plan, and making sure that it's realistic and that it really meets the goals of our community overall here in Fremont. And this is a dynamic plan. This is not just something that sets a day and time, but it really helps us to understand what we want to do. And by that, we're not talking about a site-specific plan. We're not talking about how we look at a detailed footprint or how we look at types of playgrounds or types of native or drought-tolerant plants. We really aren't looking at the specifics of a singular location, but we really are looking at what is the vision of where we want to go and how we're going to get there, and what's the practical way in which we're going to get there and be effective at providing the parks and services that our Fremont community wants and deserves. And we want to determine the highest priorities with the funding we've identified. With that, it's a great pleasure to introduce our leadership team here this evening. We have with us Kim Baranek, who is our Deputy Director overseeing administration and recreation. Roger Ravenstad, our Parks Planning and Design Division Manager. Juan Barajas is our Park Maintenance Superintendent with us this evening. And our Master Plan Project Manager, who has put all of this together for us. We want to especially thank Tara Buthamithi. In addition, I want to thank Recreation Supervisor Anisha Mistry, who is ensuring that our Facebook Live participants are involved today, and IT Genius Convo, who continually helps us behind scenes to make this community meeting happen today. So thank you again for the entire team. With that, you'll see at the bottom of your screen, there's question and answers, a Q&A section at the bottom, and we encourage you to ask questions throughout the meeting. Our team will be working our best to answer the questions, and if we can't answer them all today, we will answer them over the next week, and really doing our best to make sure that we keep all of you informed and involved and have you, again, since you've registered for this meeting, we will keep you connected on our next steps throughout the process as well. Inasmuch, we are working with Pros Consulting, and it is a great pleasure that after a nationwide search that we did in the city of Fremont to find a firm best equipped to create a comprehensive master plan for us, the city of Fremont hired Pros Consulting to help us with this effort. Nilay Bhatt is the Vice President and Principal at Pros Consulting, and he's a leader in his industry and has extensive experience in creating parks and recreation master plans, not only throughout California, but all over the nation. He has a diverse and international background, having worked for companies such as Disney, the Olympics, and the Super Bowl. In your spare time, please feel free to look up his inspiring TED Talk. Joining Nilay in this project is a team from San Francisco-based WRT and ETC Institute from Kansas City. With us today is Abby Granberry from WRT, who will co-present with Nilay for today's meeting. Thank you both for your leadership to help us engage the Fremont community in the most inclusive and innovative manner possible, and to let the community values that we are sharing with you today be heard and listened to so that we can create what is best for Fremont. And again, we want to thank the community for being here. And with now, I'll turn it over to Nilay Bhatt to get us started. Nilay?
Thank you, Suzanne. And again, good morning, everybody, as well. Thank you for participating in this third virtual public meeting. Before we begin with the presentation, I want to actually take a little poll and let's get a sense of who we virtually have in the meeting with us. So in a moment, for those of you on Zoom, you're going to see a poll questionnaire that has 5 questions that I'd like for you to answer. And when you're done with all 5 of them, just click submit. The questions are your age segment, ages of people in your household, are you a resident? If so, how long? And how many people are with you on the webinar right now? Please be sure to scroll down to see all the questions. For those of you on Facebook Live, unfortunately, you will not be able to take the poll questions, but you will get to see the results and the presentation for everybody, which will be uploaded on the project website, inventfremontparks.com. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 seconds more. All right, let's close the polling and see the results. So the majority of the attendees are between the ages of 35 to 54. with 46%, and 55 to 74 with 42%. Few under the age of 18, 18 to 34, and 75 plus. The age segments in the households, though, are extremely diverse. And every single age segment is pretty well covered in this case as well. Most of you, 77%, are Fremont residents and have lived here for anywhere from less than 5 years to the majority, 35% of you have lived here for over 30 years. And 79% of you are attending alone. The remaining have 1, 2, or 3 or more people watching the webinar right now as well, which is fantastic. So thank you for being a part of this. Let's move on. So a little background about the company as well. As Suzanne mentioned, my name is Nilay Bhatt. I am the Vice President and Principal with Pros Consulting. We are based in Indianapolis, but we do master planning for parks and recreation all over the country and internationally as well. We have been pretty fortunate in the last few years to have done a number of projects in California and the Bay Area, most recently being the master plan for the city of San Diego, have finished work for Los Angeles County, Pasadena, Malibu, Chula Vista, Carlsbad, and then closer to you, working with the city of San Jose, Gilroy, Pleasant Hill, Walnut Creek, etc. So we're very familiar with the area, but at the same time, we have also worked across the country for gold medal and nationally accredited agencies, ranging from Chicago Park District to Carmel, Indiana, to Idaho Falls, to Virginia Beach, Durango, Colorado, and Miami. So what we're really trying to do is get the best of both worlds to Fremont, understanding your local conditions and your wants and needs, but also bringing the best and the next practices from around the country to be able to ensure that Fremont continues to be on the leading edge of innovation and next practices. So to complement our team, especially with work on the ground and local knowledge, is WRT. I'll have Abby speak a little more about that.
Hi all, I'm Abby Granberry and I'm an urban designer and planner with WRT. WRT is a team of planners, urban designers, architects, and landscape architects with a national presence. However, we're based here in San Francisco. And we're really, really excited to be working with Pros. We've had a long-term collaboration with Pros and worked on many projects with them for parks master plans. And we are so excited to bring an ecological lens to this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. And along with them, we also have ETC Institute, which will be looking at the statistically valid survey that will be administered to residents of Fremont sometime in the next couple of months. It will be in English with the option of up to 5 different languages that people can take the survey in as well, to ensure it is also a multilingual process and as inclusive as we can possibly have it. A few other examples of places we worked in. As I mentioned, this is just a sample from Lodi to San Diego to San Jose, Walnut Creek, etc. And some other national agencies as Chicago, Durango, Carmel, Canton, Virginia Beach. Now, just to keep in mind, there are about 10 to 12,000 parks and recreation agencies in the country, and less than 200 of them are nationally accredited, with less than 10 agencies in California. So that's the elite group that Fremont is poised to join as it aspires to, 1, finish the master plan, and 2, complete the required standards for national accreditation. So it's really prestigious, and this master plan is a mandatory requirement that will ensure that Fremont then can also be a nationally accredited agency. So some other examples, we worked with almost 75% of CAPRA agencies in California and over 50% of all national gold medal agencies in the last 10 years as well. So a quick snapshot of the process. Any strategic master plan like this basically has three parts. So part one, we look at where are we today? Part two is where do we want to go? And part three is how will we get there? So where we really need your input and the community's input is helping understand, one, where are we today? What's working, what's not, what exists but not quite to the standard you like it to be. Then also provide your vision for the future. Right? As Suzanne said, it's been 25 years since you had a plan. So if we are to plan for the next 10, 20, 25 years, what would you want to see in Fremont for parks, recreation, sporting events, sporting opportunities, cultural opportunities, environmental conservation opportunities, and so on, that you'd love for them to be in Fremont? And then lastly, we will aggregate all this information to prioritize that, ascribe funding opportunities for that as well, and then put that in a strategic action plan. And that's the piece that Suzanne spoke to, which is ensuring that not only is this plan a vision, but it also has timelines, action items, funding opportunities, and it really is a living, breathing document. And where that's really important is, imagine the plans that were done at the beginning of the year. There is nobody who could have imagined in just 6 or 7 months later how much our world would have changed. So the best plans are the ones that are living, breathing documents that are flexible, that are adaptable, and that can adjust and change as Fremont's demographics change, as technology changes, and as the economy and the world around us continues to evolve as well. So in order to do that, our fundamental philosophy for both community input and the plan in general is we've got to go where people are. And normally that would have been in the way of having public meetings where you are, having booths and pop-up events at your special events, at the kite festivals, etc. But because we can't do that right now, we're trying to do that virtually as well, starting with the project website that we mentioned. Please, if you're at your computer, on your phone, get to the site, bookmark it. It is inventfremontparks.com. This is a fully ADA accessible, multilingual, and mobile-friendly website that will be your one-stop shop for the entire master plan. So all future events, the findings from these events will all be there on the technical reports and the key events, where you will see even the videos from today uploaded there as well. In the next 2 months, we will have an online survey that will be launched here. And at any point in time, you have the access to an open-ended comment box that, using Google Translate, can be in 80+ languages that you can share your input throughout the planning process. So Suzanne spoke to this, but I really, really want to emphasize this. This is not your one option to participate in the plan, nor is these public meetings the only way for you to engage. We want you to engage through the website, through the Happy Feet app, through the online survey, and these public meetings throughout the process, so that we continue to hear from you in the beginning. And then when we come up with recommendations, we come up with findings, we want to run those by you and continue to get your feedback, so that, one, at the end of it, you have no surprises, and two, we know we're on the right track to meet the community's vision and needs as well. So that's Happy Feet, that's the website rather. This is just a snapshot of a number of different user groups that we have met, from teen advisory groups to sports groups to environmental groups to transportation, etc., to get input so far. And through these means, we want to continue hearing from all of you as well. This is a snapshot of the app. You can go to Google Play or the App Store right now and be able to download this as well. It's free, you don't need to register, but you can see based on your GPS locations, every single park and even amenities within the park. So you can speak to maybe a restroom at Lake Elizabeth or a picnic shelter or Centennial Park or some other place where you either found something you want to fix or improve, or something that made you really happy that you want to share through pictures, videos, or text, etc. That's the information that staff will receive. They will respond back if you choose to make your information public to them. And that way we can continue getting information even by specific sites, not just through the planning process, but even after this initial planning and the input is done. So let's look at a quick sense of demographics of Fremont itself to show you what will Fremont look like. So this is data that we've run through ESRI, Environmental Services Research Institute. And I'd like for you to take a guess and answer these 3 questions that talk about the estimated current population, the largest age segment, and the percentage of population classified as Asian only based on the US Census in Fremont. I see a few responses coming in. Please don't go online or on Wikipedia or somewhere and cheat, all right? Give you 15 seconds more. Okay. So majority of you chose the current population as 230,962. 35 to 54 was the largest age segment chosen as well, with 82% choosing that. And a pretty good split actually between the percentage of population in Fremont classified as Asian only, with 57% marginally being the highest response. Great, let's take a look. So those of you who answered 230,962, pat yourself on the back, you are right. But as you can see, our population continues to grow and will be over 263,000 in the next 10 to 15 years. At the same time, while you are correct, right now, 29% of the population is between the ages of 35 to 54, that will not be the largest percentage of the population going forward. As you can see, the age segment is shrinking for 35 to 54 and growing for the 55 plus population. In fact, by 2034, 1 out of 3 people in Fremont will be over the age of 55. So this, as you can imagine, has a lot of different implications with respect to ADA accessibility, access, the kinds of facilities we design or the programs we offer, and even how we market and communicate things as well. In terms of population by race, currently the Asian population makes up 57%, and it is projected to grow to over 68% in the next 10 to 15 years. We also broke it down further, and as you can see, about 10 years ago, the largest breakdown in the Asian population was comprised of the Chinese audience with 37% and the Asian Indian at 34%. That has since changed to about 43% of the population being Asian Indian and 31% being Chinese in Fremont as of 2018. Income-wise, you already know this, significantly higher than average educated audiences with, again, employed as well, and per capita, so the individual income and the median household income are both higher than national as well as California averages. So beyond demographics, we also looked at trends. And this is what's called MPI, Market Participation Index, where it shows the national average as 100, which is the red line that you see right here. And any number above that indicates how much higher does the population in Fremont participate in that activity. So as you can see, soccer and tennis are 23 and 21% higher than national averages, but baseball and basketball being 9 and 1% just higher than the national average too for general sports. Keep in mind, there are other sports that are really fast growing, like pickleball, which is among the fastest growing sports in the country, but isn't really tracked in the MPIs yet. Or sports like cricket and badminton and ping pong that are actually much higher than average in participation in Fremont, but aren't tracked at the national level. That's why we don't have some of that data here. Along with that, from a fitness standpoint, every single activity is higher than national averages, ranging from swimming being 7% higher to Zumba being 37% higher than national average. Not that it's a surprise to you, but you are a very active and fit community, whether it's walking, jogging, yoga, Pilates, every one of those are very heavily participated in Fremont. With outdoor activities too, some of the things with canoe, kayak, boating, fishing, etc. are lower, but hiking, biking, both road and mountain biking, are much higher than national averages as well. So in general, you can see from the demographics and trends, we are a growing population, aging as well, extremely diverse and diversifying even more, and much higher than average income levels compared to California and nationwide. And at the same time, we also have a population that enjoys sports, that is, from a fitness standpoint, extremely active, and also likes biking and hiking outdoors as well. So let's again pause and take a quick poll. We want to get a sense of your usage. How are you accessing the parks, and how are you using some of them as well? So let's take a look. How often do you use any City of Fremont parks or facilities? Daily, weekly, monthly, a few times a year, once a year, or I do not use City of Fremont parks or facilities? There's a close competition between daily and weekly. Also, while you're answering, Iris, Yakuma, to your question, this is usage as of right now itself in terms of frequency of use, particularly for parks. We recognize facilities obviously inaccessible at this point. Okay. So as you can see, 33% of you use it daily and 43% of you at least weekly. So over 75% go to the parks at least once a week, if not more frequently, which is phenomenal. That's great. Okay. So I want to have Abby talk a little bit more about the global community and access to the parks as well.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So part of WRT's work on this project is assessing these existing conditions. And one of the things that we found that Nilay also alluded to was just the global reach of Fremont. So it's truly, truly a magnet for people from around the world. 50% of the population was born outside of the United States. And you might be thinking, why are we thinking about this for a parks master plan? But the demographics of people really influence what kind of cultural practices people use open space for, and also the recreation options that they might want. So we really, really looked at this. You can see the pockets of Chinese population and Indian populations. It's very, very diverse. So I'd love to have an understanding of how you all get to your parks, because that's also another aspect of understanding how we can help with the planning process. So what is the medium of transportation you most frequently use to access a park? Do you walk, bike, hike, drive, use transit, teleport? And another thing that Suzanne mentioned earlier on in the presentation was how many people are not within a 10-minute walk to a park. Is it 25,000, 45,000, 57,000, 68,000, or 72,000? And I'm going to be relying on Nilay to give live updates on what the answers are coming in. I'd be curious.
There's a competition between walking and driving, and we'll give everybody about 15 seconds more.
Is teleporting not as popular as last meeting?
I think the teleporters didn't show up to today's meeting.
All right, yeah, these results are very, very, I'm not terribly surprised. 52% of you drive to parks. With the next second is walking. So 44% of you are able to walk to a park. And really a tenet of this master plan will be to shift those modes. So understanding that we want to have people have access to walking. And then in terms of how many people do not live within a 10-minute walk to a park, the majority of you said 58,000 approximately. So the true answer is, so it's actually 72,831 people do not have a park within a 10-minute walk of their home. And this has a lot of health implications, both mental health, physical health, and environmental health. So people who do not live within 10 minutes walk of a park have increased risk of stress. They also have risk of heart disease, and then they're much more susceptible to flooding, and extreme weather events. Next slide, please. So here you can see the 10-minute watershed map for Fremont on the right. The population density is represented here, and you can see these red pockets where a lot of people are living that do not have good access to Fremont's park system. So this particular map was made for the Fremont Parks Atlas, which was a snapshot of factors and existing conditions that are influencing our park planning process. We are looking at both the citywide, so looking at demographic information, environmental considerations, so thinking about what are the habitats in Fremont, what are the environmental conditions that we need to be thinking of, what is the distribution of parks across the city, and the mobility patterns in Fremont. We've also taken a really granular look at park by park. What are the assets that people have? What are the assets that parks have in Fremont, and what are their conditions? Here's two examples of the distribution of playgrounds and exercise areas and sports courts. As you can see, there's a high concentration of sports courts in Central Park. We've done this for a number of different asset types across the entire city. And then we also went and we documented every single asset in each park in Fremont. So we found over 9,500 assets and inventoried them, geolocated them, and assessed their condition. There were 104 different types of assets that fell under 10 different asset categories. And this information will all be made available for you to access as well. So here's an example of a park by park analysis where we are documenting what's currently there. So you can see basketball courts and tennis courts, but we're also understanding what's not there. So we are documenting what paths aren't in the park and really where the gap is. And then we documented the condition of all of these assets. And this will really help with determining where we need to direct investment and what investment is already doing a great job at satisfying the need. And then this is all leading up to understanding a level of service for equity across the city. So you may be thinking, why is this San Clemente? This is an example of what we will be doing for Fremont, where we're looking at the distribution of assets across the whole city and thinking about taking the feedback that we're getting right now and incorporating that into an understanding of what Fremont needs across the city. So here we see playgrounds, which have, for San Clemente, have a fairly good distribution across the city, but their indoor recreation space is really located and concentrated in the southern portion. We want to make sure that Fremont has a great equal distribution of the assets that are most important and the recreation facilities that are most important to the people that live there. So we'll be performing this as well.
Thank you, Abby. Let's look at another poll here where we would like to see your input on the methods of communication and the barriers to participation. So how do you get information from about the city's recreation programs and offerings? And then what prevents you or prevented you pre-COVID from participating more often in the city of Fremont's parks, facilities, programs, and events? And these are multiple choice options, so feel free to choose as many as are relevant. I see answers starting to come in. So far, a lot of print material, publications and social media, as well as email and e-blasts, pretty high as well. In terms of barriers, starting to see a few of those come in. I don't know what is offered, too busy, not interested. We'll give 15 seconds more. Okay, let's take a look. So as you can see, the number one choice is tied between two of them for how do you get information on the city's offerings, and printed materials and City of Fremont publications, outreach, etc. both are 48%. Emails and e-blast are 40%. And then social media, Facebook, Instagram, etc. is 36%. In terms of what prevents you from participating, or prevented you rather, pre-COVID, too busy, not interested, followed by I don't know what is offered, and a couple of people, or rather a couple of other choices after that were program times not convenient or poorly maintained trails. For those who wrote program times not convenient, if you could please also type in the chat box what might be some convenient times for the programs, and even the programs that you are interested in that currently don't have convenient times, please. Okay. All right, let's look at one last poll here about your future program and park facility needs. Keep in mind in this, we are limited to 10 choices. So we've given the options for other in many of the questions. So feel free, if you don't see your specific choice in here, to then drop in or use other and provide the specific choice of interest you would have in the chat box as well. If you have questions about any of this, please go to the Q&A portion at the bottom of your screen or at the very top and add the questions in there. This is fairly long, so take the time you need. What are the following program areas? Or which one of the following program areas are you and your family most interested in? What existing parks and recreation services should receive the most attention? What park facility amenities would you like to see that the city is currently not offering? And then how do you rate our current indoor recreation community center space? This is the last of the polling questions, so feel free to take your time. Give you about a minute more. I see lots of options coming in. Community gardens, a pool, lots of others, a bocce ball, splash pads. Very cool, very cool. Seems that park maintenance seems to be the area that so far most of you have said needs the most attention. A lot of different program interests. That's awesome. Okay, 15 seconds more. Let's take a look at the results. So, of the following program areas, which ones are you and your family most interested in? The top two were community special events, dance, fitness, and health, with 51% of you choosing that. Followed closely by music, art, and cooking, and sports, basketball, baseball, cricket, esports, soccer, tennis, etc., both of them being 47%. We've got family and picnic rentals, and water park and aquatics both being 40% as well. What existing parks and recreation services should receive the most attention? Number one with 66% was park maintenance. If there is a specific park with respect to maintenance or a specific type of maintenance issue, please type that in the chat box as well, if you haven't already. Some of the others, new amenities and facilities, quality of amenities, etc., and more community events. And then which new ones would you like to see that the city is currently not offering? Number one with 45% was community gardens. We had about 30% speak to the pool, and 34% type in other, where I saw a number of different options come up as well, ranging from different sports courts to cricket batting cages and so on. Bocce ball is 23% as well, and pickleball is 21%. In terms of rating our current indoor recreation community center space, only 20% of you said it's very or somewhat sufficient. Number one, 38% said neutral. And then the rest said either could use some or lots of improvements or need a new community rec center. Okay, great. So this brings us to the end of the polling portion. Just in terms of next steps here, we've just finished the next meeting after this. We will have the statistically valid survey, the online survey, both of which will be launched in the next 1 to 2 months. And based on that, the level of service standards, the inventory that Abby spoke to, and then the equity mapping to show the gaps and the overlaps will also be done by the end of the year. All of this will be on the project website at inventfremontparks.com. So feel free to keep checking back on the website as well. We have a few minutes now, so we're going to open it up for questions for everybody. And Suzanne and the Fremont staff, Abby and myself, will go through the questions you have posted and can speak to that as well. So Suzanne, I'll go through some of these and give you a sense. As more tech companies like Facebook set up shop in Fremont, do we foresee the population skewing younger in the future? I'm worried the later 20s, early 30s group is vastly underrepresented. I'll speak to that, Suzanne. You can add if you want to as well. Jessica, that's a really good point. And the challenge is, this is the worst year for any census data projection because we are the furthest away from the last census data, 2010. And the current data will not be available till mid to late next year. So to your point, it could very well be with the growth of tech companies and the population moving in the last 10 years, you may have a larger population of the 35 and under that currently isn't represented, but we will certainly keep this in mind too. And Abby, if you want to add to that, please do that as well.
I would also add, Jessica, that that's why we're doing a statistically valid survey, so we really can capture today's residents of Fremont and what they're looking at for the future, and making sure that we capture that in a statistically valid way so that we are capturing all of the population today. Also, you'll note earlier in Nilay's projections, it was the senior population that was increasing the most in our earlier projections. So we'll have to see how that fits in with the census data as well.
Suzanne, there's a question about, is there a plan to have more theater and musical theater performances for the community and have cultural experiences in Fremont?
There is not currently a plan to build a theater, but we do have musical theater performances in our repertoire, in our recreation programming that we do in normal times. And we would encourage, if that's something that's important to you, to let us know, and we will note that as a comment as well in our feedback loop today. So thank you for that.
Right, yeah. Abby, this might also be for you and the staff to perhaps talk to. Cecily Lee talks about, does the master plan include amenities like fences around parks for young children? Other concern is lack of shade, i.e. trees around playgrounds. And is this where some of these concerns should be captured?
Absolutely. So that through the inventory process, we mapped every single playground, every shade structure, and then with your feedback, if that's a really important thing for Fremont residents, then we will absolutely be doing an equity mapping of those types of amenities.
Thank you, Abby. And in terms of where to find or provide feedback as well, the website inventfremontparks.com would be a great source. But also keep in mind, if it's site specific at the playground you might be using with your child, Cicely, you could go to Happy Feet, Fremont Parks, and take pictures or share feedback about that specific park as well. And we will then include that in our site specific recommendations too. Corinne High talks about, will nature parks and nature education programs and environmental stewardship be considered as a need? The number of people hiking at regional parks and parking issues, etc., often arise. So Corinne, absolutely. Actually, as we speak as well, Kim Berenek and her team are working with us on the recreation programs and events offerings and program data and worksheets. So based on the feedback we have heard, environmental education, nature education programs are a big priority in Fremont. And we're seeing that, frankly, grow all over the country. So I certainly see that being a critical part in terms of balancing both the active and the passive recreation opportunities that we provide for kids and the entire community in Fremont. an anonymous attendee talks about, just to be sure, is this whole effort mainly to increase revenues from Fremont citizens? I hope some existingly perfect places are not touched. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Anonymous attendee, that's not the intent. If anything, part of what we're looking to do is see how we can generate revenue from external and creative funding sources, whether it's grants, partnerships, etc. Because what we have seen in our experience is that money follows a plan. So if people want to fund you, we've had Facebook and their staff attend our meetings as well, and they'd love to help contribute to the quality of life and livability of Fremont to attract more people. But the question they always ask is, what's the plan? What are the community's values? What are the priorities? What are the future demographics and trends? And thus the plan. So really, it is more to use this to create a financially sustainable recommendation for the future. Suzanne, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that is excellent. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Another anonymous attendee talks about there are hundreds or thousands of new houses built around the Warm Spring BART station. Do we have planned to build a new park there?
Yes, as part of the plan development that is out there, we have the Lila Bringhurst Park that will be opening very soon as a connection to the Lila Bringhurst Elementary School. Although the elementary school is not opening this year, we are planning to open the park this year for those residents as the population grows in particular, and so houses are just beginning to open right now.
Jerry Lowe Sabato talks about we are out of shelter in place, including school classroom tours. When we are out of shelter in place, including school classroom tours at Shin Park, to bring children to learn about the local history, including the Chinese American history at the Chinese bunkhouse area and the Portuguese history at Santos Barn.
You know, I just want to thank it's individuals like Jerry that bring volunteerism and connectivity to our cultural programs, as she's been a leader in the Chinese community to help us think about how do we want to shape and think about the Chinese bunkhouse. And so we want to just appreciate our volunteers like Jerry, as well as encouraging others to continue to contribute, as it's going to take a robust plan for us all to think collectively and comprehensively about how to move forward together. So Jerry, just a shout out to you and a thanks and gratitude for your work, specifically on that location.
That's great. And Harry Nakagawara has a sort of a two questions here, which are brilliant questions. I want to sort of wrap up on that note. One is, how will the master plan approach the cultural diversity and demographics of Fremont in terms of how public space is used, as well as in terms of social interaction potentials, family-oriented potentials, and so on. And Harry, that's a brilliant point. And I think as you saw in the demographic projections that we showed, you are increasingly diverse. And as Abby spoke to, we certainly see a lot of differences in how different race, ethnicities, and cultures choose to recreate. So we're very mindful of that also from a cultural standpoint. But as we look at the true diversity, Fremont, as we've learned through the process, and you probably already know, also has one of the largest populations of deaf and hearing impaired and blind population as well, in fact, around the country. So we, in fact, had a stakeholder and user group meeting yesterday with interpreters as well, and with students and participants from the deaf community too, to get more input from them. And our entire intent is to ensure that we're not creating a one-size-fits-all approach, but trying to identify based on different areas, different needs, how do we, from the design to the communication to the program and the offerings, create a customized and inclusive recommendation for the future. So I will pause on that note here. And Suzanne, if you want to help wrap them up as well.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you for joining us today and giving us such wonderful feedback. We encourage you to continue to share this with your neighbors, friends, family here in Fremont at www.inventfremontparks.com. And please download our Happy Feet Fremont app. We are excited to hear from you specifically at parks and what you think is missing, what you think is what you love about your park. what's important to you, so we can get all that feedback compiled in a way that really helps us move forward as part of the master plan. And again, thank you for participating today. And thank you to Pros Consulting and WRT for their work in leading this effort, and to our staff throughout this whole process. We really do appreciate all of the work that we have for you. And a final note is, if you want to volunteer, please go to fremont.gov/CS volunteer, because we are always looking for more volunteers. Even though right now we're a little bit slow in that during the COVID-19 process, we do want your involvement and continued participation and leadership in the future. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.